Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our next matchup for UFC 325. In this one, we have our final Road to UFC fight, the lightweight bracket finale, as Dom Mar Fan takes on Sung Yuk Kim. On paper, this looks like experience versus use, as Fry comes in as an 8-2, 25-year-old prospect, while Kim 32, a little longer in the tooth, with a 13-3 record. But I think when you dig in how they fight, this is more of a battle of styles and adaptability. Like I said, for Marfan, or his nickname, which is awesome by the way, Street Buddha. Like I said, he's young, hungry, pretty methodical, good with mixing the striking and grappling in ways that let him control fights without forcing anything. As for Kim, a South Korean veteran, like I said, 13-3 as a professional. Well, he's been around, has had multiple ways of finishing fights, whether it's knockout or submission. He doesn't fold under pressure. But here's the thing. I think our Sarmar Fry is the kind of fighter who can adapt mid-fight and force his opponents to play his game and slowly take control. So for me, this isn't about who hits harder. It's about timing, range, and decision-making. It's about every exchange. But without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown. So, best way to break it down, their styles. For Dom Marfan, he is an orthodox fighter who likes to mix his offense in. He doesn't just strike, he'll switch his levels, go to the clinch, and use takedowns when the moment's right. Fan, he doesn't rely on one big shot or big power to win a fight. Instead, he's pretty patient, methodical, and balanced. I mean, you look at his record, he has wins by decision and stoppages, meaning he can grind rounds, but also can finish when the opportunity shows itself, though he has more decisions than stoppage wins. I'll say that right off the bat. What's important here is how he moves in the pocket. Fan, he'll step in, measure the range, land clean strikes, and back out without overcommitting. And that's huge against someone like Kim, who relies on pressure and timing, as Fan's movement and mix of strikes keep him sort of unpredictable. Now, Sung Yuk Kim, also known as Frogman, Ribbit. He is a veteran, as I said, southpaw, longer experience, and has a high finishing rate of, like I said, more KOs and submissions than Fan. And he can fight in multiple ways. That does make Kim dangerous. But here's a nuance to it to me. Kim prefers timed aggression. What I mean is, he waits for openings and goes hard when he sees them. Kim's strong in the clinch, can chain strikes, and if you make a mistake, he is ready to capitalize. So you got Marfan, who's balanced and adaptive, versus Kim, who's more experienced and opportunistic. Both can win in multiple ways, so that's why the fight it comes down more to strategy, I think, than just simply who has more skills than the other. Now, just seeing how they clash, like technically, the big question is pace and rhythm. Because Kim wants to push the pace, keep Fan reacting, but Fan doesn't just react, he controls the tempo. Fan uses feints, level changes, and lateral movement to keep Kim guessing. And when Kim throws combinations, I think Fan's timing and footwork allow him to either absorb safely or just counter cleaning. Another factor is also range management. Kim likes to stay just a striking distance, long enough to threaten a punch or a kick, but close enough to threaten a takedown if needed. Fan, however, can shrink or expand that distance with movement. Step back, step in, create angles. That could force Kim to consistently adjust, which can make him overcommit. And that's where I think Fan's counters could become deadlier in this fight. Plus, then there's the transition game. And, from strikes to grappling, to wrestling, then to grappling, or clinch, and etc. Fan is comfortable taking the fight to the ground if he needs to, but he's also skilled enough to keep it standing and pick his shots. Kim's ground game is solid, but he's used to capitalizing on mistakes, and I think if Fan limits his mistakes, he can neutralize one of Kim's biggest weapons. Lastly, I think about output and consistency. Kim's power is real. One clean strike can change this whole fight. But I think Fan doesn't need to land a single knockout punch. He wins by controlling exchanges, landing clean, and making Kim work hard for every solid connection. So I think over 3 rounds, I think that consistency is pretty huge. Now, going into my prediction. So breaking it down, I think Marfan has the tools, balance, and fight IQ to control the action. Kim has the finishing ability and experience, but he's playing against a guy who can adapt, mix phases, and force him into less comfortable situations. So with all that being said, I am going to pick Don Marfan. I think this fight is likely to start fast, with Kim testing the waters, looking for openings, while Marfan will absorb, reset, and start dictating pace and range. And by rounds 2 and 3, Kim would be forced to chase exchanges, which plays right into Marfan's hands. And then technically speaking, I think Fan's versatility and control give him the edge. He's able to strike, grapple, and adapt in real time. And I think Kim is dangerous, no doubt. But the one who controls rhythm and minimizes risk is going to walk away with the win. So, once again, I'm going to pick Don Marfan, and I'm pretty confident in a decision win. You look at Kim's record, all 3 of his losses have just come by decision. And like his last loss, which was, ironically enough, his last fight of his 5 fights was against Rong Zhu, who's a pretty devastating striker. Again, it was a decision. So, while I think Don Marfan has finishing potential, he does, I don't really see him finishing Kim. I see him more or less grinding away to a win, like I said, mixing in the striking, wrestling, just being a bit more technical everywhere, and relatively being safe in just about every exchange you can think of. Of course, he gets clipped, and I look like a fool, but again, that's the whole beauty of fighting, isn't it? One wrong move, and it all goes out the window. Oh, one thing I wanted to add real quickly. If you actually look at Fan, he's only ever lost to the same opponent. Those were his 2 losses. They were against Quinlan Salkeld. I mean, yeah, Quinlan Salkeld is really, and I mean really fucking good. So, no shame in the loss. But, like I said, once again, I'm going to pick Don Marfan. And again, I'm picking him decision 30-27, maybe 29-28. I can see him getting clipped in 1 round, and Kim maybe wins off just having that bigger moment. But again, relatively speaking, I think a good, clear decision. But with that being said, that's been my prediction of this matchup. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below on who you think's going to win. Until then, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. I thank you all for listening. And remember, stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see you all next time.